Welcome to the second video of Machine Consciousness, Minding Descartes. In this video, we are going to investigate the idea of the mind that originates with René Descartes. We will review the examples of a stick in water and see how reasoning is used to determine the truth and concepts about physical experience. Then we will touch on the problem of simulation that Descartes raises in his search for true principles. Lastly, we will examine Nietzsche's critique of Descartes' conclusion and what that means about mind. What is sentience? Is it the product of a mind? What is a mind? We must answer these questions to make progress towards machine consciousness. The answer to what is a mind must be correct, detailed, and specific, because machine consciousness is a programming problem. If there is a mind, we must be able to program it. However, if there is no such thing as a mind, what is a mind is the wrong question to ask, which means we must look for another path to conscious machines by discovering the reductive elements which produce sentience. The modern concept of mind originates with René Descartes. Descartes asserts that the mind is something separate from the body, that the mind is non-physical, that the mind is the source of reason and determines truth. These assertions naturally create the mind-body problem. How do the mind and body interact? How do physical phenomena lead to ideas? How do ideas induce physical action? If the mind is non-physical, how is physical action possible? How do physical things correlate and influence non-physical ideas in the mind? Writing is the perfect example of both problems. How can ink or pixel shapes be letters and words? And what causes us to move and write and type, creating those ink and pixel shapes so precisely? Descartes' ideas about mind and its nature come from his search for certainty and truth. He writes about this search in his Meditations, which are short and worth reading. We are engaged in a similar search. The concept of mind has been around at least since the time of Descartes, yet it has not helped us to create conscious machines. We need a reliable basis for a mind to begin the programming tasks necessary to create machine consciousness. Physical phenomena. Let's look at the stick and water example from Descartes' Meditations. See how the stick bends while it's sitting in the cup? Watch as we squeeze the cup, we can cause the stick to deform and change shape. Obviously, we are not changing the shape of the stick. What is happening? The stick appears to bend. The water is refracting or bending the light reflected from the stick. This is a physical illusion. We cannot see the refraction itself occur. If we feel the stick, we will not feel a bend. The visual and tactile experiences contradict each other. The idea that a stick does not spontaneously bend in water is a concept. It is related to the belief of object continuity. Distortion and reflection are also concepts. Why should we prefer the tactile confirmation of a straight stick and reject the obvious visual proof that it bends? We reason that objects do not spontaneously change when inserted into water. This is object continuity. We apply this mental model to how the physical world operates generally. We make predictions about the physical world from our constructed mental models. Mental models are thoughts. Ideas, concepts, and reason are all examples of thought. Thoughts are not physical phenomena. We are more certain of object continuity in physical experiences than we are of what we actually perceive from our senses. Thought is how we determine the bending stick is an illusion. Thought and reasoning is how we determine what is true. We compare, select, and arrange experiences in our thoughts to construct ideas about what is true. These constructed ideas are not physical phenomena. What do we learn from this example? What is sensed and perceived can be confusing and contradictory. Ideas and thoughts are necessary to determine physical truth. Distinguishing between the contents of physical experiences is a conceptual process. For example, that sticks and liquids are separate and different phenomena is a concept. We value and structure the phenomena of physical experience and non-physical mental models. Naming and distinguishing phenomena is not a physical process, but a process of thought and reason. Are physical phenomena the source of thought? We can doubt the veracity of the physical world. How does a physical world create the concept of experience and doubt? How can a physical world create sensation and perception? Where are the physical phenomena of doubt, sensation, ideas, differentiation, and perception? There are no such physical phenomena. The belief in an external physical world cannot explain experience itself, nor consciousness. It cannot explain belief or ideas like physical laws. This is the reason Descartes asserts that the mind, or reason in his parlance, supervenes on physical experience and phenomena. Later in this series, we will show that state-oriented thinking and supervenience are flawed, even illusory ideas. Physical phenomena and ideas and doubts about physical phenomena are separate types of experience. Physical phenomena are self-indicating. They do not refer to anything outside themselves like doubts, ideas, or concepts. Physical phenomena do not create ideas and do not refer to ideas because ideas are not physical. Doubts, ideas, and concepts about physical phenomena are a subset of thought and thinking. They can refer to physical phenomena and to themselves and to other experiences. The concept of physicality and physical properties are ideas that appear to supervene on physical phenomena. But the concept of supervenience is an idea, and not a physical phenomena. Fantasies and daydreams are thoughts that are not ideas or concepts. Fantasies can also be about physical phenomena. We can imagine all kinds of causes and behavior for physical phenomena. When mixed with some ideas and reason, imagination and fantasy become the source of many stories and myths. Physical experiences and thoughts are separate from each other. Physical experiences seem to come at us, forcing themselves into encounters of their own shapes and character. We think this is so because physical phenomena partially intersect our experience, while remaining to a large degree separate and outside experience entirely. For instance, the refraction of light is a physical phenomenon, but we do not experience the actual refraction. We only experience the result of the refraction. We conceptualize refraction because it is outside our experience. Illusions are kinds of experiences that can also be physical phenomena. We determine that illusions are different or part of physical experience through cognition, through thought. Descartes' conclusion is that thought and reason are necessary to determine the truth of physical experience. Simulation is Descartes' second argument. Beyond the physical illusions, Descartes suggests that the whole universe can be an illusionary experience, like a dream. We could be conscious in a universe controlled by a malicious demon who makes the universe only appear to be physical and consistent. This idea of a universal simulation is found in popular culture in the Matrix movies and in the holodeck of Star Trek. If the whole universe is some kind of simulation, can we determine any truth apart from that simulation? Yes, we can. We have thoughts. That fact of thinking, and that it is used to determine what is true, is reliable. Thoughts, ideas, concepts, mental models, as Descartes might say, reason, is the means or process that determines what is true. Any argument to refute this proposition relies upon thought and reason, thus demonstrating the fact. This appears to be true even in a simulation. Because we have thoughts, the fact of thinking cannot be doubted, and thus that which thinks must exist. I think, therefore I am. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. Descartes' famous phrase. The claim is that because there are thoughts, there is a thinker, there is a mind. Friedrich Nietzsche makes two arguments about why Descartes' claim is flawed. The first, there is thinking, therefore there is something that thinks. This is the upshot of all Descartes' argumentation, but that means positing as true a priori our belief in the concept of substance. That when there is a thought, there has to be something that thinks is simply a formulation of our grammatical custom that adds a doer to every deed. In short, this is not merely a substantiation of a fact, but a logical metaphysical postulate. Along the lines followed by Descartes, one does not come upon something absolutely certain, but only upon the fact of a very strong belief. If one reduces the proposition to there is thinking, therefore there are thoughts, one has produced a mere tautology, and precisely that which is in question, the reality of thought, is not touched upon. That is, in this form, the apparent reality of thought cannot be denied. But what Descartes desired was that thought should have not an apparent reality, but a reality in itself. In short, Descartes' demon tricked him with his own language. Even if the self is implicit as a construction in our cognitive expression, we cannot know that there is a thinker, because the thinker is merely another one of our thoughts. At best we can conclude there is thinking, therefore there is something thought. That is all we can start with. All we have is the apparent reality. Believing there is a thinker, a mind, that produces thoughts does not get us anywhere towards understanding how to get a machine to think. By saying a thinker is a fundamental requirement for thoughts to occur is a useless conclusion. If thoughts come from minds, what is a mind? And obviously no answer is forthcoming. Descartes' thinker or mind is magic mumbo-jumbo, and it returns us to our starting question, what makes a mind? Nietzsche's next inquiry shows this is the wrong question. Nietzsche's second argument. With regard to the supposition of logicians, which means Descartes himself, I shall never tire of emphasizing a small terse fact which these superstitious minds hate to concede, namely, that a thought comes when it, the thought, wishes, not when I wish, so that it is a falsification of the facts of the case to say that the subject I is the condition of the predicate think. It thinks, but that this it is precisely the famous old ego is, to put it mildly, only a supposition, an assertion, and assuredly not an immediate certainty. After all, one has even gone too far with this it thinks. Even the it contains an interpretation of the process, and does not belong to the process itself. One infers here according to that grammatical habit. Thinking is an activity, every activity requires an agent. We do not say, I see, therefore there is a seer. We do not say, I hear, therefore there is a thing which hears. No, instead we say, I see something, or I hear something. I see, therefore there is something seen, or I hear, therefore there is something heard. Likewise, thinking asserts implicitly that there is an object of thought. The I, the self, the mind, the agent, the thinker, is also an object of thought. We do not have any evidence that the thought, there is a thinker, is the producer of thoughts, any more than we have evidence that the sight of our reflection is what causes us to see. The idea of mind takes us away from understanding the more fundamental problem of what thoughts themselves are. To say that thoughts originate from a thinker or a thinker's mind is acceptable as a lay term, but it doesn't tell us what thoughts are. It doesn't tell us what experience is, and it certainly doesn't tell us what a mind is. Suggesting there's a source of thought tells us nothing. The problem is not some creator of thought. Rather, the problem is how can there be experienced thought or awareness at all? How can there be even one thought? As Nietzsche correctly inquires, what is the process of thought? Let's review. Thoughts are critical to understanding physical experience. The behavior of physical phenomena rely on thought and reason to understand how those physical phenomena function. However, thoughts themselves are not shown to be produced by a thinker any more than our concepts and ideas about physical phenomena are what cause the phenomena. We observe and describe physical phenomena with thoughts that are not physical. We do this with stories and fantasies, and also with reason and logic. The concept of a mind as the source or substance of thought is an idea. It does not provide a basis to understand how thoughts exist or form, and thus cannot be a model to understand how to create conscious machines. A better question to ask is, what are thoughts, or how do thoughts come about? Inserting the concept of a mind into these questions does not help us answer them.